few minutes to actually, because there's a bit of a lag, but
Oh, it's telling me it's streaming live.
okay. Oh, we're streaming live. Okay, fabulous. So we made it at last, Jenny.
Phew,
So
yes.
yes, it's taken a few times.
Hi.
So let's introduce ourselves. My name is Sarah Estelle of sarahestelle.com. We're here today to share the life transforming potential of flower and vibrational medicine. And I'm really, really happy to be joined today by my friend and colleague in the flower essence world, Jenny Howarth. Jenny is the director of Yorkshire Flower Essences, of Bailey Essences. Wow, how lucky we are to have you here, Jenny, and also of your own range, Verbeia Essences. Jenny is also a graduate of the Essentially Flowers Diploma in Flower Essences and a member of the British Flower and Vibrational Essences Association. What a lot of things to put under your name. And you're a homeopath and a Bowen practitioner. Yeah,
that's me. Yes,
that's you. So thank you for joining me. So
it's a real pleasure. Hello, everybody.
Yeah. My wish today is to just use our time together for a few moments to help others truly understand what it means to work with flower essences. So what brought you first to flower essences? I mean, what was the first time you ever took them?
The first time I took them, I think, was taking a rescue remedy mix, as many people, that's often the way in to flower essences, using that. And I was using that as a homeopath, but using that as a quick fix, something I could carry around with me all the time and know that it just helped. And then when I realized how helpful it was, I was then telling everybody about this. So everybody was carrying it around in their bags too, including my mum, who was then in her mid-80s, and she was telling all her 80-odd-year-old friends that this is what they all needed.
Wow. So they felt the difference.
Absolutely. And I can remember my mother now saying, yes, it's so helpful. If you're a bit worried about anything, it just takes the edge off it. It was as though she'd read the book, you know.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it does.
Huh? Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Yeah. But you and I know that it can also do more amazing things than that.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with taking flower essences in that way. I mean, how fabulous we're so lucky. But we can drop down into deeper levels with working with nature as well. So I'm not quite sure how long it was between all of that. And then one day you got in contact with me and said, Sarah, I'm interested in joining the diploma. And we had a chat and you came on board. So what brought you on to study more deeply with flower essences, with Essentially Flowers?
Well, I had been using, after that first experience with the rescue remedy mix, I had been using quite a few different ranges of flower essences, supporting the homeopathy that I was practicing every day. So typically I was using Australian and Alaskan essences and kind of just feeling my way around using them alongside the homeopathy, knowing that I was covered officially by my homeopathy insurance officially. So I was doing that. And one day I was walking on Ilkley Moor and I said to somebody, it is a pity we don't have essences from Ilkley Moor. And they said, well, why don't you do it? And I thought, yeah, why don't I? So I started to look at the basics of how to make essences myself. And then I thought, well, this is fine. But actually, if I'm going to take this further, which I decided to do after some work with my own Ilkley Moor Verbeia essences, I thought I really need to know more about these other ranges. I need to know more about what's out there in the whole world of flower essences and how they work, how deeply they can work, and how I can use them not just as an adjunct to the homeopathy, but actually as the main focus of work with some people. So now some people approach me for homeopathy still, but also some people approach me for consultations using flower essences. So so the two work side by side, and I can see how deeply we can work with the flower essences at the deep emotional level. And I think there is such a beauty in the range of essences that have come, and really from nature all over the world. So the wider we look, the more we are likely to find just what is suitable and what's going to match with the person we're talking to, because obviously everybody's needs are different, and whilst we can all learn lots about particular ranges, I think the wider our experience and knowledge, the better. And that's where I came to talk with you, Sarah, first about the diploma and whether that might be something that I might be doing. Yeah.
And you went for it.
I did indeed, yes.
You went for it, and we were very obviously delighted that you did, because things have changed massively for you. So
Absolutely.
we can talk here professionally and personally. Maybe let's just start with the personal, because all change starts within, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
So what shifted for you personally while you were taking part in the diploma and taking, basically traveling the world by taking the essences of different ranges?
I think that it brought an acceptance of what was coming up, because we all have emotional pictures that come to the forefront at different times, depending on what's happening in our lives. And sometimes it might be a bit scary what that's saying to us, or it might be that we're afraid of going forward or whatever. Whereas actually, the more work I did on the diploma, working with colleagues, so that we were all going through similar but different emotional patterns, getting to grips with and learning to accept that we could trust flower essences to help us on our way, whatever that way was, and it was different for everybody. So I think it was that it gives a sort of confidence and a trust in nature, and a trust in nature being reflected through ourselves. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, well, that feels about right to me. If I were maybe to choose two words, it would be confidence and trust. That's what essences do. But obviously, as you say, it's very personal. Everybody's journey is going to be different. It will outpicture in different ways. So as you changed personally, your professional life changed a lot, didn't it? So what opened up for you as a result of diving deep in yourself?
Well, I had the confidence, first of all, to bring out my own range, the Verbeia range, which was using the Iltimore energies. And before I did that, I spoke with Chris Bailey of Bailey Essences, because she's also based in Ilkley, and she was fine with that. But then she got in touch with me a while later and wanted a word, and I thought, oh crumbs, what have I done wrong? Like I always do. But in fact, it was to say that she'd reached a stage where she was looking for a new home for the Bailey Essences, Arthur Bailey having died about 8 or 9 years before that. And she asked whether I would consider to take on the Bailey Essences as part of what I was doing. So I was just absolutely amazed, and would never have dreamt that things would lead me that way. So I looked at it in detail, because it was a business proposition. I had to look at it not only with the emotions, I had to put the business head on as well. But they matched up, and I thought, yes, this has come to me, and this is something that I do need to.
So you could trust it. You learned to trust.
Absolutely, yes. Whereas maybe before I would have been a bit more fearful. But no, I trusted what was coming to me, and took it on nearly 4 years ago now. And so I founded what we called Yorkshire Flower Essences. And I set that up with another homeopathy, a client, a colleague in my practice, Nikki, so that there were two of us, because the business side was then growing quite a bit. And I thought that made a lot of sense, especially with Nikki happening to be a chartered accountant.
Oh, bliss. Bliss. Yes.
So you don't say no to that, but also being a homeopath, so she knew the what it was about, the energy medicine side of it. So that's how we set up Yorkshire Flower Essences, to bring together the Bailey essences and all that they did, because there's a massive range of Bailey essences. I was amazed, if I may, when I was looking, I opened the cupboard of the mother tinctures and I found a whole range of batch flower mother tinctures. And I thought, well, I didn't know, and they'd stopped selling them actually, but I thought, well, I think they want to be out in the world again. So we brought the batch essences out, made by Arthur Bailey, but so they have his clarity and energy.
And they are very clear, because I have some of them, they have a very clear note. Yeah.
That's nice. So all of those, and 5 elements, and geopathic stress work, all of that within the Bailey area. So that was there. My own Verbeia essences were there, and I developed those with body care products. So bringing the flower essences into shower gel and lotion so that people could access those easily without necessarily thinking, oh, what I need is a flower essence. It's kind of incidental. And then it's another way in for people to say, yeah, I feel better using that. And then it's an opening to talk about it. And there's another range we called Scintilla, kind of the little spark, just as the idea of that, we call that our playground, so we can bring out new things for trials and new ideas. Like there's a range for animals, a range for essences in the workspace, because I'd worked for about 30 years in public sector management, so it made sense to bring that experience into my flower essence work. So there's quite a lot going on, really. But
there is.
It's great. It really is. And I would never have dreamt when I first contacted you, Sarah, that I do believe this was the way. And if I hadn't done the diploma, I would not have moved in this direction. It gave me, as I said, that confidence and understanding, I think, understanding of self and therefore of others, and how the essences of all sorts can work. Yes.
Yeah, and the whole legacy side of nature, of our own work, of Arthur's work, all of that. It's just so important.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, so much has changed.
It has.
Thank you. So for those of you watching, sorry, Jenny.
I just had one other thing that is lovely is having been a part of the diploma program. I'm still in touch with Sarah, but also still in touch with people who were on the diploma at the same time as me, or perhaps a bit before or after. So we're able to still network and still be in touch. So if something crops up that's a query or something we just want to celebrate together, it's a lovely network to be still in touch with each other.
Yeah, so many people, when they do the diploma, because it is such a deep dive, there's always a certain amount of sadness when they come to the end. It's like, oh, what am I going to do? So we do have a graduate group, which is actually there for that purpose, of people who, when they wish to, they can stay connected with each other, etc. So before we say goodbye, Jenny, at the time of actually recording this, we are actually closing the doors of the diploma for winter. This is October 2019. So if you're watching at another time, just check in with the link that I'm going to add to this video, and you'll see when the doors are open. But for anybody who might be watching now, if they were sitting on the fence in some way, or even if you're watching later, if you're thinking, is this for me? Is this not for me? Clearly your heart will guide you. Jenny followed her heart, which is actually just what she shared, and it opened a whole new world personally and professionally. What would you say, Jenny?
I would say, well, I'm assuming that you would be available for a one-to-one chat with someone, Sarah, if that were the case. And that was very helpful to me, to just go over where I was at and how that fitted with the diploma. And I would say, if you're feeling that attraction to, is this what I want to do? But there's always reasons why you think, but maybe not, maybe this, maybe that. But I would say, go for it. Follow that heartfelt attraction, because I'm absolutely sure you won't regret it. Yeah.
That's you. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jenny. It's lovely to see the nature behind you in Southwest France, where you're
Yes,
currently
indeed.
staying. So that's fun to see that. We're not actually, whoops, we're not actually that far apart from each other, because
No,
I live
it's
on the
great.
estuary and Jenny's on the other side of the estuary. So it's kind of fun to do this. So thank you very much for your time, Jenny. Thank you for sharing how flower essences have become such a deep part of who you are, and all the amazing things that you do nowadays.
Yes, lovely. Okay, well, thank you, and thank you to everyone, and I hope to have connections with you when you're on the diploma.
Yeah, so anybody that's watching live or the replay, please say hello to both Jenny and myself if you've got questions about anything, the Baileys or Yorkshire Essences or Verbeia. Ask Jenny here via the video, or if you'd like to have a chat with me about joining the diploma, just reach out as well. Okay, thank you, Jenny.
Okay, fine, thank you. Right,
Bye.
bye.